So for clients who own digital assets, who have an allocation to crypto already, Matt, let's start with them. Obviously, I'm assuming your long-term bullishness has not changed. So talk us through the volatility. What's driving, what caused it in the first place? I think October was kind of when it started, I think. Just take us back, kind of what happened, and we're excited to see you in September in person.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited to be out there in September. This is a classic crypto winner, right? Bitwise has been in this market for 8 years, so we've seen a few of these. Every 4 years, historically, there is a big reset backwards in crypto, and then it bases and then moves to a new all-time high. We had a big reset in 2022. We had a big reset in 2018, and here we are in 2026. And as you mentioned, prices are down roughly half from where they were in October.
Yep.
There was an event in October that catalyzed this. As you might remember, on sort of late on a Friday night, Trump announced 100% tariffs against China, which were then rescinded. But that marked a sharp, or set off a sharp sell-off in Bitcoin, and we started to see the momentum fizzle out of the market as people deleveraged in the space. But regardless of what started it, I think this is a classic crypto winner. The important thing for long-term investors is underneath the surface, the news is incredibly good. If you look at all the excitement taking place around stablecoins, around tokenization, you're seeing large asset managers like BlackRock and Apollo building on the DeFi ecosystem. You see continued progress on a regulatory front. So far from sort of worried, I think crypto from a fundamental perspective in the strongest pace it's ever been. And we just need to get through this basing period. And I think it'll be an exciting spring.
Okay. No, I love hearing that, Matt. Talk about the ownership of crypto. So that let's just say typically, I think clients assume the owners of crypto are kind of these retail, speculative kind of kids in their basement. Let's talk about the ownership of digital assets these days.
Yeah, I love that question. We're going through a transition. So it's absolutely right that crypto started as a retail phenomenon, right? The first people to buy Bitcoin, the first people to buy Ethereum weren't institutional and professional investors. They were retail investors on the side. But ever since the Bitcoin ETF launched in January of 2024, we've seen institutional ownership grow and that retail ownership fall. So as an example, in 2025, institutions bought about $75 billion of Bitcoin, which is a huge amount. I think they'll do more than that in 2026, but it was a huge amount. Bitcoin's price didn't go up because those retail investors sold a little bit more than that, right? They sold that much to the institutions and then others. People have made an analogy to when companies go through an IPO. I remember when Facebook went through its IPO, debuted at $32 and then fell for about 6 months. That happened because the early employees at Facebook were selling to the long-term holders, which were institutions. But over time, those institutional demand overwhelms the retail selling. And today, Meta is trading in the hundreds of dollars. I think we'll see the same thing in Bitcoin. We're going through this transition, but the institutions are coming and they're bringing a lot of capital with them.
Makes a lot of sense. And your base case for Bitcoin is still the use case for it. Sometimes you read that, okay, it doesn't do anything, so to speak, but it's not supposed to do anything. Talk us through kind of the long-term use case for Bitcoin.
Yeah, I think it's digital gold. So gold doesn't do anything either. When's the last time you bought a cup of coffee with gold flakes? Never. But it's been a valuable store of asset for investors for a long time. Bitcoin is that for a younger generation, for a more digital generation. I think it's actually more useful than gold, and we'll find additional use cases. And you don't have to take my word for it. The incoming Fed chair, Kevin Warsh, said if you're under 40, Bitcoin is your gold. I think he's right. Right now, Bitcoin's about 7% of the gold market. I think it will eventually be 25, 50, maybe even more of that market. Things that are digital tend to win over time. So that's my view of Bitcoin. It's just digital gold, and it's maturing well into that use case.
Okay, that's terrific. This is basically all we had, Matt. Thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate the insights. We look forward to seeing you in person in September. We'll see if we're out of the crypto winter by then or not. But it's great stuff.